Well, one big concern following this halt, how will all of it put together affect the reopening of the economy, confidence in consumers? Senior economics reporter Steve Leisman has been looking into that angle of the story. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Courtney, yeah, for just that reason, Wall Street has been doing their own estimates of vaccinations all along. And several economists and biotech analysts we contacted today said they expect the Johnson & Johnson news to have little bearing on their forecast for mass vaccinations by the end of May en route to a full reopening of the economy by early summer. Goldman Sachs sent us this chart showing what a small percentage J&J is of total vaccinations. So you can see it's been growing just at the last leg there, about 12% in the past weeks of all vaccinations. But economist Dan Stroivin tells me that at most, total removal of J&J, which, by the way, he does not expect, would delay by only a week or two his estimate that demand for vaccines will supply will outstrip demand by the end of May. In the Goldman model, he says supply of mRNA vaccines continues to ramp up and supply starts to outstrip demand pretty quickly. Morgan Stanley's Matthew Harrison tells me it doesn't really impact the overall timeline for vaccinating the U.S. population. Both these guys tell me we'll have enough vaccines for adolescents months before the government even approves administering it to them. The biggest impact, though, could come to emerging markets, but only if J&J vaccine is withdrawn altogether. Here in the U.S., the concern is it could fuel further skepticism of vaccines in general, which is running high compared to other countries at 25 to 30% of the population. Courtney?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, Steve, but I believe you said the Goldman economist does not believe that it will be pulled altogether. But what would happen? What would the government do then with this J&J vaccine? What's the going thought?
Right. So first of all, these guys have about as much information that we all have, all the public information, and they did applaud the government for the transparency here, trying to keep up that confidence in vaccines and the vaccination approval process. They rely upon what's happened with other situations like this in the past. They suggest that perhaps what happens is a warning label is put on it. Certain demographic groups, for example, women may be told not to use it, but it is not their expectation at this moment, given what information is public, that the vaccine is pulled altogether. And that would create a separate set of estimates changing some of the vaccine. But mostly we hear, Courtney, is that between Pfizer and Moderna, we're okay. The bigger risk here is that we had some redundancy in the process. Possibility, remote though it is, that one of those redundancies, which is J&J, could be removed, putting more pressure on Moderna and Pfizer to come through.
I know we have to go here, Steve, but very quickly, isn't the bigger concern that we've had as much as 30% of the country that is very wary of taking the vaccine at all, any vaccine?
It's a huge part, and we are higher, or we have more reluctance than other countries, Courtney, and that is an issue. And you can see how the officials are struggling and laboring to maintain the transparency and the confidence in the vaccination process through the public press conference they just had and all the other methods that they're trying to do to keep confidence up and get people to get those vaccines.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.